Chris,
Heath.
brushing your teeth is important.
Yeah, I heard a little bit about this.
Yeah. I was too sleepy, so I didn't do it right before bed.
Which, is this a multiple offenses you've done this, or just the one time?
Ooh, well, the days ran consecutive that I did this.
Oh, it was consecutive days.
Yeah, so I was getting quite the damage multiplier on my gum line. So everybody listening ought to brush their teeth right now, even if you're driving.
A minimum of twice per day. To tell you the truth, Heath, on Friday, I neglected to brush my teeth in the evening.
Oh, I was ready to say, I know I'm preaching to the choir because you're like the CEO of Healthy Gums, but at 2, Colgate?
I know, I was ashamed of it. Usually I'm a brusher and a flosser at nighttime, and I did neither.
2019 was a great year for flossing. I had not done it habitually before that.
Oh, you brought it back for 2019?
I definitely brought it back, single-handedly.
Awesome.
With that out of the way, welcome to this episode of Mobius Tubes.
Mobius Tubes. It's a podcast about video games. I'm ready for a nice, chilled out, relaxed episode with you, Heath.
It's almost the Ides of March.
Almost, because we're recording this on March 7th, 2021. Bit of an absence since the last episode. Sorry about that. You have a coat on. You're looking very chilled.
God damn it, Chris. Okay, everybody listening, just God forbid you're a fan. If we ever get to the point where Chris and I are invited to a con and there is a line outside at our booth to sign stuff, make sure you ask Chris to sign your jacket because we'll be indoors theoretically if we're at this con, and Chris he can't resist to be like. So I see are you catching a fever, or why are you wearing a jacket indoors? It's not unthinkable to wear an outdoor garment indoors if you're too busy to take it off.
It's just a really heavy jacket. I feel like a sweatshirt or a hoodie would be far more appropriate for indoors. And to continue the saga from last weekend, I couldn't help but notice your jacket is not your pea coat. Is that still soaked in salt?
This is the jacket that I wear underneath the pea coat.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That one seems
double up.
bulkier than the pea coat, but it goes underneath?
Yeah, you wouldn't even notice it.
Huh. Is the pea coat recoverable, or is it we're never going to see it again?
Pea coat's fine. It's in its last year, but it's fine.
Okay.
Thanks for checking out.
Yeah, now that we know more about your attire.
Well, while we're on the subject of garments, I did want to issue a correction from last episode in which we were talking about Total Warhammer, and
Okay.
you were describing Grand Cathay,
Yeah.
and I was spitballing what they would look like.
Boy, were you spitballing.
And you described them as being China, to which I suggested that the conical hats that you see originated in China. They actually originated in Vietnam. So I'd like to stand corrected.
All right. Well, we're not clothing experts here, so...
Speak for yourself.
So we're bound to make mistakes when it comes to hats. But what we don't make mistakes about are video games. And let's talk
Speak for
about
yourself.
some video games. Heath, have you been playing anything?
Chris, the only video game, and we haven't recorded in a while, the only video game related activity I did in the past 3 weeks was tune in to Picaspri's stream of Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Mythic Forest clears.
This sounds like the most niche of streams.
Pretty much. I mean, anyone who's playing Mystery Dungeon right now is getting paid to do so. It's a decent game. It was too difficult for me. My parents were irresponsible in buying it for me when I turned 13 because it's not a typical Pokemon game. It's a dungeon crawling JRPG type.
Yeah.
Of which I was not ready for.
Yeah, they threw you into the deep end.
But I enjoyed the high levels of chance that were required to succeed in a mythic forest run because Mythic Forest is the home of Celebi. You know which Pokemon that is? Quick, what color is Celebi?
Purple.
We won't correct it. We'll just leave that like that.
Purple. It's got to be.
Anyway, it's the hardest level because you're so dependent on the item drops that happen throughout the dungeons. And it's good to have in the background because it's 100 floors to get to the end. So I would tune in every now and then because Picaspri, who's most well known for his gimmicky YouTube Pokemon videos in which it's like, can you soft lock the game if you enter this gym battle without a normal type sort of stuff? And can you beat the game using only a Ditto? Like that kind of thing. You know what a Ditto is, right?
All right, I legitimately know what Ditto looks like.
Okay.
It's the pink amorphous slime-looking Pokemon.
Who transforms into your opponent's Pokemon, and then
It's like a mirror image.
you can use their moves against them.
Yeah.
So he has videos like that, but he was doing this not speed run, but just any percent can you complete this hardest level using each of the Pokemon. So aside from that, I haven't even looked at a video game. Sorry to say, but you are of a different
Variety.
happenstance.
Yeah, I guess so. I've been playing tons of games. You gave me the perfect segue. You mentioned you enjoyed the high levels of chance needed to be successful in this Pokemon Mystery Dungeon game. I've got a game that also requires high levels of chance. It's a little indie game called Dicey Dungeons. Are you familiar with this?
No.
Okay. It's by this Terry Kavanagh guy. Oh, let me double check that
I
last
was ready
name.
for you to say it's by this Terry Bogart guy.
Yeah, Terry Kavanagh. You may have heard of his other games. Super Hexagon. It's like an arcadey rhythm game.
Oh, my brain just went to Geometry Wars. What's the...
Yeah, there's Geometry Wars is an arcade twin stick shooter.
Yeah, that's it.
He also made VVVV.
Oh, I am familiar with that.
Okay, so it's that guy. He's made Dicey Dungeons, which is this roguelike dungeon crawler. You play as a contestant on a game show who gets transformed into a dice. This nefarious deed has happened to you by Lady Luck, who is the host of this game show. She serves as the antagonist, and you're thrown into randomly generated dungeon floors, and you fight your way through 5 levels and then fight a boss at the end. It's very much like the dungeon is this branching map, and you can take different paths to fight different enemies and get different rewards. What is the gameplay like? It is...
Tell me when you move... You have a different number that appears on the top of your
you like
rolling onto each side to locomote.
Sure, right.
And then depending on what number's on the top is like, ooh, what damage you do that turn.
Yeah, that's not what happens.
I should be Brett Kavanaugh. What did you call his name?
Terry Kavanagh.
Thank you. I should not be Brett Kavanaugh.
You see, the dice you control has legs, and he can just walk without rolling.
Oh, what a missed opportunity.
This game gives me huge Slay the Spire vibes. It's a turn-based strategy dungeon crawling game of a similar ilk.
With whales.
There's a lot of zany characters in this game. I don't think I've seen a whale.
Oh.
Gameplay is interesting. I'm going to call it a Slay the Spire light because it doesn't quite demand as much focus as a Slay the Spire does. How it functions is you enter a battle and you've got a couple different abilities in your toolbox, up to potentially 6 at most, but kind of uses like a Resident Evil style inventory system where a more powerful ability will take up more room in your backpack.
Yes, we love that.
So you could have like 6 kind of wimpy abilities or maybe like 3 really powerful ones. And then you have to choose, weigh the pros and cons. And then you go into the battle. Abilities could range from everything from do some direct damage, shield up to defend yourself, or maybe like apply a status effect to the opponent. And the way you trigger any of these abilities is by a dice roll. So at the start of your turn, you'll roll somewhere between 3 to 6 dice, depending on how high of a level you are. And then different abilities require different dice inputs.
Yeah.
So maybe you have a status effect ability, but you can only use it.
10?
you can only use it if you rolled an even number.
Oh.
Maybe you have a damaging ability that does more damage the higher number you put into it.
Yeah.
Or maybe there are ones, like you said, some really powerful abilities that you need to just create a sum of a certain number. So maybe your dice in total need to add up to 20. You plug them all in and then it works.
This is just better Yahtzee.
It kind of is better Yahtzee. Now, in practice, I call this a strategy game. It can often feel like when you look at your dice roll, there's just one correct solution, and you as a player kind of just feel like an algorithm plugging the dice into the places where they would be most effective.
But I dig algorithmic lifestyles.
Okay, maybe this could make you feel right at home then. Because if you roll a 6 and a 1, it's really obvious you want to put the 6 in your big damage attack and the 1 in something that's...
Oh, I was ready for you to say sum them together for the lucky 7 combo breaker.
Yeah, there's a lot of variety in the abilities, so maybe in some situations that combining them would be very useful. But what I'm trying to say is oftentimes you will immediately see the correct way to proceed with your dice, which makes the game not very taxing on you. When I finish a game of Dicey Dungeons, I'm not I'm not stressed. I'm not overly tired or anything. I'm just rolling some dice and putting them where they belong. And it's fun to tweak what abilities you're bringing into battle, just to see like, ooh, it's especially good to have some abilities that let you mitigate the luck. You can bring in abilities that will...
modify the dice roll result.
Exactly. Things like
bibliotic.
What game did we play yesterday?
Biblios, yeah.
Biblios, the card game.
How do you... With the word ends in an S, how do you adjectivize it? This is my medical terminology class coming back up.
I'm not quite sure.
Bibliostic? Yes. Yeah, probably.
We'll roll with that. Roll, because it's dice.
Hey!
So yeah, I especially enjoy being able to mitigate the luck a little bit. That's my play style. Why would I keep coming back to this game? The soundtrack is an absolute bop. I should play you some clips from it. It is so upbeat, so cheery, and consistently great.
Crypt of the Necrodancy?
That's a close enough vibe to give you an idea.
I just thought dungeons.
It's got a the art style of this game is as distinct as the soundtrack. Both of them give this an aesthetic that the aesthetic would totally make you think it's not a strategy game. It looks kind of like cute and cartoony.
What, like a Watam?
Maybe like a Piku Niku.
Oh, we like that.
I'm pulling up some images.
Oh, we do like this. Oh gosh, yeah, this is Quiplash.
Yeah, it's in the vein of a Jackbox party game, which fits the kind of low stress gameplay pretty well.
Did a girl introduce you to this?
No.
Okay. It looks like that, and that's a compliment.
Oh, okay. So the soundtrack is an absolute highlight. You should be watching out for when I bring some tracks from this to Mobius Tunes, because I'm going to have to.
Uh-oh.
Oh, there's a lot of gameplay variety between the 6 classes. They all have like a distinct gimmick to them. You're going to start out with a very vanilla warrior. He'll give you 3 dice re-rolls per turn, adding to your ability to mitigate the luck. Then if you move on to a weirder class like the robot, every turn, you're basically playing blackjack. You're trying not to bust. You have this limit of maybe like 9 or 13 or 15, and you can keep rolling dice as much as you want, but as soon as your sum total of dice you've rolled exceeds that blackjack limit, you bust, and all of your abilities disappear, even ones you haven't used.
Oh, the robot has like an overflow error.
Yeah, that's like what they were going for.
Like an integer, yeah.
Exactly.
I hear you, Terry.
So the robot has a cool push your luck element. I won't spoil the other ones. The thief can like steal abilities from the opponent and use them against them. Things like that. So there's a lot of cool class diversity.
The villain, the enemy variety is very Undertale.
The enemy variety is absolutely very Undertale. Very Earthbound. You're just fighting all manner of weirdos.
When did this come out?
This is a 2019
game. This is super new. This is the newest game of the year. Yeah.
I dig it. It is a more casual Slay the Spire type experience. Here's my criticism, though.
Oh,
You're familiar with the saying, it's possible to commit no errors and still lose?
now I am.
Okay. That's a famous saying. People usually tell people that to make them feel better.
Who said that? A loser? Yeah.
Yeah, because the high degree of randomness in this game, you can start a run, and at the beginning, especially at the beginning of a run, the decisions are practically on autopilot. There's so little for you to consider. And you can be totally out of HP by fight number 3. You can lose right off the bat. Just because if the dice rolls aren't lining up, if the enemies get particularly lucky.
I was waiting to bring up XCOM.
Okay.
That's all I'm going to say.
You're saying
in terms of, this is a 99% chance to hit, miss.
Yeah. Those kinds of experiences can very much happen in this game. So if you lose right off the bat, that's a little frustrating, but no big deal since a run is pretty quick. What is particularly annoying is there are kind of like Pokemon-esque status effects you can spec yourself into. So you can be someone who is big on burn damage and lights the opponent's dice on fire. Or you can be a freezing type who turns all of the opponent's dice values to the number 1, which is what happens when you freeze. So you can hard spec into some of these elements and make your playstyle around that. And then when you get to the final boss, you can, if the RNG gods are just not in your favor, you can fight a boss who is just a hard counter to your playstyle. You can fight a boss who is strong against burn damage. And if that's your main strategy, sorry, you're just hosed. So yeah, in conclusion, the randomness adds a lot of fun, but every once in a while, just the nature of randomness, you're going to end up cutting yourself once in a while on that sharp edge of random chance.
Of RNG, yeah.
So that's Dicey Dungeons. Honestly, I think the strongest thing about it is the soundtrack. It's that good.
Okay.
But if you want a casual game that you can pick up and play without fear of needing to really invest yourself into, with those caveats, I would recommend it. And that's all I have to say about that. I'm going to move on to another indie game I've been playing. This one's another shorty. I've been playing Florence.
Yes.
Yeah.
Game Awards, girl.
Yeah, so this is a game from 2018. It made it into some nominees at that year's Game Awards. Nominated for Best Debut Indie, nominated for Games for Impact, and then actually won Best Mobile Game, because this is very much a mobile game by design. Florence is, for the uninitiated, a single-sitting, narrative-focused game.
Sorry, I googled Florence, and it's like city in Italy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Storybooky. Heath is getting acquainted with the game's art style.
Yep.
This is
very WarioWare.
Yeah, the mini games do look a little WarioWare.
Look at that! Look at that omelet mini game.
If you were trying to gamify mundane tasks of daily life, then yeah. This is a young adult love story, interactive piece of fiction where you play as the titular Florence, a 25-year-old.
I'm 25.
Yuppie working in the city at an accounting job.
Is that what a yuppie is?
Yuppie is
like a Wall Street
young urban professional.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
Or,
that's what acronymed?
Yeah, that's acronymed.
Oh.
YUP. At least that's what I've been led to believe.
Okay. When you say yuppie, I think of like cocaine Wall Street.
Oh, maybe it has more of that connotation to it. I just assumed any...
Like The Big Short.
Okay.
You ever see that movie?
Hey, I might be off base here. I just thought any young urban professional was a yuppie.
Like Florence.
Like Florence, the character I'm talking about here. She meets a dude. They have a love story. It progresses over this whole thing. The game takes in its totality
He's hairy.
He's got some body hair. It takes about 45 minutes. This is a super short game. And this love story, it's not trying to be novel whatsoever. What it sacrifices in trying to be exciting and novel, it makes up for in being relatable. It's trying to be one of the most mundane love stories out there for you to see reflections of maybe your own love life in there. It comes up with some cool ways to communicate things like conversations on a first date. It comes up with cool mini games to communicate that through mechanics. How at first The puzzle pieces of trying to come up with a response to your date are kind of complex, and it takes you a little while to fit them all together.
Oh, it's purposefully difficult in the beginning.
It is maybe arbitrarily difficult, but over the course of multiple dates, those puzzles keep getting easier and easier.
Because you're more in sync.
Because you're more in sync, you're more comfortable around with each other. Exactly. That's just one example. There are fun mechanics throughout the whole game.
Who made this
to do
game?
this? This is by a little Australian developer called Mountains. Nice. I think this might be their only game, published by Annapurna, who we are on the record as liking.
You know what other game Mountains developed? You can hear my smile, so you know what joke's coming.
Hit me, Heath.
Ice Climbers. Ugh.
But yeah, it's an easy breezy experience. It's
yellow.
It's got a very yellow art style to it.
Not quite genius yellow, closer to needle drop yellow. That's for the music fans in the audience.
Educate me on this. Coldplay? Is that what we're talking about?
No, we are not talking about Coldplay. They have a song called Yellow.
But that's not what you were going for?
I'm referring to the website formerly known as Rap Genius, which does all the lyric stuff.
Okay.
Quick, switch between the two. Quick, ready? So Florence Yellow, Genius Yellow.
Florence is a little more
saturated and darker.
Yeah.
And then there's Needle Drop Yellow.
This is the content our listeners require.
Well, no, I mean they're listening to an MP3, so hopefully they are familiar with music and stuff. That's his yellow.
I would hazard a guess people who listen to podcasts are in fact familiar with music.
Going from least saturated to most saturated, it's Needle Drop, Genius, Florence. That's all you need to know.
That's all you need to know. So yeah, it's a cute artsy game. If you are picking it up based on some engaging mechanics, I might say maybe hold off. In fact, when you reach the credits, when they arrive oh so quickly, the very first subtitle to Florence is, it doesn't say a game by Mountains. They actually said it's a story by Mountains.
Yay.
So the emphasis is really on the story. The hardcore gameplay is not going to be there for you. And like I said, this was a mobile game first and foremost. I played it on PC, where it still worked. It was totally functional. I was actually using...
You have to use your cursor to like scratch the lottery ticket instead of your finger, right?
You do cursor stuff, and I played it the wonkiest way.
Is there a lottery ticket too?
There's no lottery tickets,
okay.
But there are some scratch surface.
Oh, right. I love you in the fogged mirror while your significant other's in the shower.
Perhaps.
Oh man, I'm Terry Kavanaughing this one too.
No spoilers. I played it in the wonkiest way, where I had a mouse and a controller plugged in, and depending on the minigame, I would switch between them.
Ooh, very Wooly Madden.
Who is it? I don't know the reference here.
Wooly is one of the hosts on Castle Super Beast, and he described an abomination of a controller setup in which he uses the left analog stick and the mouse pad.
Oh my gosh!
So not the mouse pad, just the mouse.
The mouse.
Yeah. But there was an infographic that I saw on Twitter once depicting it, and Wooly was like spot on, and all the comments were just like vomit emoji.
That is quite the Frankenstein control scheme.
Look up Wooly Wools on Twitter, his controller setup.
I never used both simultaneously. Let the record stand.
Oh, you're missing out.
I switched between the two.
That's that third brain. You'll wake up from the simulation if you do that.
But I'd say probably...
Sorry, Florence.
Probably the definitive way to play it would be on a mobile touchscreen. The game's also available on Switch if you want to play it there. And just because the game asks so little from you, both in terms of the time it takes to play and its price tag, I think full price it's like $5. Because it asks so little from you, I feel comfortable recommending it to you if it at all sounds appealing.
Yeah, play it with the girl that introduced you to Dicey Dungeons.
No one introduced me to... No. All right. So that was Florence, and wrapping out this trio of games I've played, this last one, I would not have thought I'd be bringing to a podcast ever again. Because last week, I talked about Hitman.
Yeah.
And how I didn't quite care for replaying those levels over and over again.
It didn't quite hit, man.
So I fully expected I'd just plow through Hitman 2, the sequel,
No.
come back here, tell you how great it is, and call it a day.
Just blitz some racing missions, and that's it.
So this will be the episode where I eat my own words. I have not made it to Hitman 2 because I have been so absorbed replaying Hitman 1 over and over again. More than 40 hours at this point of diving back into those original 6 levels, trying to chase total level mastery. I didn't think this could appeal to me, and yet here I am. I got hooked. Let me tell you why. So, Hitman, yep, this is the IO Interactive puzzle-y stealth game where you play Hitman, the guy who knocks people out and steals their clothes, trying to assassinate his target. This is the first game in the World of Assassination trilogy, where it's a globe-trotting adventure with exotic locales such as Paris, Italy.
Paris, Italy.
Paris, Italy.
Go have a pizza next under the Eiffel Tower.
Paris, France. Sapienza, Italy. Other cool places like
Bangladesh Hotel.
It's Bangkok.
What did I say?
Bangladesh.
Quick, what's the distance between Bangladesh and Bangkok?
Let's find out how wrong you were.
2,000 kilometers. I missed the mark by.
Just a stone's throw.
And Japanese hospital clinic.
Yeah, all sorts of fun places.
And sushi restaurant. No, that's also
in Japan.
Okay,
yeah.
good.
But we people get the gist.
You want me to name more places?
No. IO created these games with the intention of playing them over and over, really knowing them like the back of your hand, so you can get creative with these stealth assassinations. And I thought that was going to be tedious. I'm not often one to replay games very often. They do things to make it more pleasurable than I expected. For every single level, there is a level mastery progress bar. You start at mastery level 1, and it goes all the way up to level 20. And every time you increase your mastery at a certain level, you unlock cool things.
New outfits.
Yeah.
Starting location outfits.
New starting locations, which you can start undercover as like a chef, or you basically get quicker access to more secure parts of the level right off the bat. So those opening minutes of knocking out a hotel employee so you can then infiltrate the hotel locker room, you don't have to do that anymore. If you have a high enough mastery level, you can just start the level and skip the tedium. You also unlock new areas you can smuggle extra gear into. So maybe you can have a sniper rifle waiting for you at the top of the hotel right off the start of the mission if you unlock that smuggle location. And all those unlocks working in tandem means subsequent playthroughs can be way faster than your first one. You can knock out a Hitman level in like 15 minutes when the original one was a full 60 minutes. So that makes the art of replaying far less of a chore than I feared it would be. And also, just the huge amount of wacky challenges and Easter eggs that are in these games make the process of existing in the same level over and over again, but constantly seeing new things interesting enough so you don't get bored. Every level has some really worthwhile challenges that you probably wouldn't be able to complete on your first time, but it's things like when you are in the Marrakesh army base, and if you dismiss all the soldiers from it and turn on the radio, suddenly everyone starts dancing. There's challenges that'll like steer you to find these fun Easter eggs, and you just won't find them, it's likely, on your first playthrough. Those are the kind of Easter eggs and secrets that reward lots of replays, and I've had a ball with it. I'm really digging Hitman now. I've pretty much thoroughly seen all the first 6 missions, and I'm going to plan to see them all in Hitman 2 as well. So that's fun. Oh, and this is just for you, Heath. You know the Sapienza level?
I do.
With the underground research lab?
Yeah.
You probably have
They're
this.
remastering it? What?
No. There's a bonus mission in there. It still takes place in Sapienza. You have a different target, and now you're on set of a film crew. They're shooting like a live-action monster movie there, and your target is like the lead actor. So you get to go around knocking out different members of the production crew, be it the special effects guy or security, and then finding a cool way to kill the main actor. And I feel like this would reward some of your domain knowledge working in film.
That does tickle me in a very specific way. Oh my God. Yeah. If you could disguise yourself as a grip, then the camera people would turn a blind eye to you. Okay. All right.
Maybe you played just that, and maybe tell me how realistic it is.
I was going to say, like Civilization 5, this should be a game that we play together. But then I thought about it a little more and thought, no, I did not care to play this game even under your tutelage.
Wow.
What I want to do, I mean, maybe I would have been interested if it was a co-op race.
Okay. Wait, cooperative race or competitive race? If we're racing, it sounds okay.
Sorry, when I say co-op, it was just that was a placeholder for we are in the same map.
Okay.
And we can sabotage each other, and we're going after the same target.
I think they might have a mode that's pretty similar to what you're describing.
They have a Ghost Trials mode.
Oh, okay.
That's not the same.
Got it.
What's the closest thing to what I just described? Splinter Cell Conviction co-op mode.
Oh.
I own it. We should play it over the course of like 5 weeks.
Oh my gosh.
After you finish your Hitman binge,
Uh-huh.
I want you to play that with me and be like, see, this is more fun. That's just my opinion. I'm slightly interested in the film set monster movie Hitman mission, but I was just thinking to myself, oh, maybe I would enjoy it if Chris were backseating me. And I was like, but why don't we spend that time playing Splinter Cell instead? That's where we're at.
Okay. Yeah, so I kind of had a change of heart on my opinion about replaying Hitman levels. Now I endorse it.
I think the most fun kill in those games is when you go into the Japanese clinic of the guy who is due for a certain, not vaccination, but just
he's getting
like a remedy.
A rare heart transplant.
Yep, and you can just turn off the refrigerator that's housing the one-of-a-kind cure.
Right.
And then your handler will be like, good job, 47. There will be no way to get to replacement dose in time. You've effectively killed him. And then, and then you just walk out.
Yeah.
The guy's still alive, but there's no way he'll survive. So it's like, that was the most entertaining kill for me.
That's a pretty good one. There's I'd argue, an even funnier one with the same heart transplant guy.
Oh.
He's on your hit list because he sold out the Hitman organization. He
Sure.
He was a turncoat. He's a betrayer. So he knows who you are.
So you hate him too.
Yeah, you hate him.
He's wearing a coat.
Oh. So he knows who Agent 47 is. So if you just walk into the operating stand,
he'll have a heart attack
in front of you, and he sees you, he'll just die.
Precious.
You can't be in disguise though. You have to be in your signature suit.
Yeah, exactly. Man, IO Interactive.
Yeah.
They're like Chris Brown for me.
Oh yeah? Why
in which
that?
I hate them because they make the bad stealth game that I don't care for. But much like Chris Brown, they're so good. Be it in the case of him dancing, in the case of IOI, it's fun level design. Dang it. I hate them both. But they're such good dancers.
So
lots of games. And yeah, who knows? I wasn't expecting to be playing any of these games this week. Who knows what I'll be playing next episode? But time will tell. And for now, we can take a break. And when we come back, so much news to go over. See you then. Greetings, Heath. For all you number fans out there, I just thought to myself, this is one of those fun dates where if you multiply the month and the day, you get the year.
No way.
If you multiply 3 times 7, you get 21.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
It's 2021.
Yeah.
That won't happen again until
I feel like this probably happens often.
February 11th, 2022.
Surely it'll happen before that, right?
All right.
I don't know.
Just for you kids to think about if you're driving.
Wait, won't it happen July 3rd of this year?
Oh, shit. Well, welcome back.
Welcome back. Heath, why don't you kick off the news segment?
Yeah, which news do you want to talk about? You want to talk about Elden Ring leak?
Yeah, why don't we touch on that?
So Elden Ring is the Game of Thrones video game.
Not exactly. I mean, it has nothing to do with Game of Thrones.
Why did I say that?
Because the author of Game of Thrones, George R.R. Martin, is consulting on it. He's helping write the lore and the backstory and the world building.
Which means it'll have tons of dragons.
It could. It's by From Software, and they're known to put dragons in their games. They're in all the Dark Souls. They're in Demon Souls.
And as we saw in this leak, this is a Dark Souls game.
I mean...
did you see any of it?
I did see some of the leak. So the story here is some footage of the game came out. And
a lot?
A lot? Like how much time? I only saw like a 30-second clip.
Yeah, more than a 30-second.
Okay. This game is rumored to be an open world From Software game.
Like Sekiro.
Well, I guess that the definition of open world gets a little blurry because all of those From Software games don't have levels per se. It's one
linearity
interconnected.
Varies.
I call them like interconnected worlds versus the open plains of a Red Dead Redemption.
Yeah.
So I think this is more akin to a Red Dead Redemption in terms of you can go in 360 degrees open. Where in Dark Souls it's more corridor. Yeah.
Let's say that again at the same time.
All right, 3, 2, 1, corridor.
So are you excited to play Elden Ring? Remember on my schedule, I was like gonna have a Dark Souls month.
Yeah, so far you haven't had any months.
So far, but they're coming.
Cool. Yeah, I've really enjoyed playing Bloodborne. I've been eager to play more From Software games, but I'm too much of a wimp.
Guitar Hero. No, that's not true.
What?
That's Neversoft. Sorry.
Did you seriously think From Software made Guitar Hero?
Okay, well, hold on. From Software also made Metal Wolf Chaos. So...
Did they?
Yes.
Okay.
So they're not just the Dark Souls.
They made King's Field and stuff like that. Did they really make Metal Wolf Chaos?
Yeah.
I thought that was Platinum.
No.
All right, they're From Software. You're right.
Quick, what's your favorite quote from Metal Wolf Chaos? It's, I can't turn my back on a friend. And the reason is, I'm the president of the United States.
That is a good one.
So yeah, Elden Ring. We're looking forward to that.
Wait, did you not have anything else to say about that?
What else would you anticipate me saying?
Maybe this would be the first From Software game you play because you like the look of it so much.
It's not going to come out until next year.
Okay.
That might give me enough time, is what you're saying.
It could be.
Yeah.
All right, I guess we'll move on then.
Another correction that I wanted to rectify was, I think back when we were at the speculation station, I was going to say, and I could pull up a clip probably, that the PS5 would not have a VR integration.
Oh.
And you were like, that's stupid. Of course it will. I read on Twitter, PS5 VR hardware confirmed.
Yes. It's not launching this year, though. I think they're targeting 2022. It'll be a successor to the current PlayStation VR. And notably, I think in order to hook up a current PlayStation VR, you need a whole nest of cables. This will only need one cable. So that's a big improvement.
That is a big improvement. Only one more big improvement after that.
Yeah, zero cables. Some VR headsets do have zero cables.
Yeah, but what's the battery life on them?
I'm not quite sure. People are pretty positive on the Oculus Quest. That one is wireless. So it must be decent.
Okay.
So yeah, that's cool to see. Sony is still committed to virtual reality. What else is there?
Smash adds the anime characters.
Yeah, from Xenoblade.
Yeah.
Is that all you wanted to say, or did you want to talk about the Nintendo Direct?
Well, we could talk about it. I mean,
It was definitely
I'm
like
not a Bravely Default 2 fan.
It was like a C+, B- direct, which is on its own nothing too bad, but it's kind of heartbreaking after not having one for more than a year.
Right.
To follow up with this one. That said, there were still things I was excited about.
Mario Golf.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy golf to some extent. That could be fun. The real star of the show in my eyes was that Project Triangle strategy.
Project Triangle strategy. A worthy contender in the worst video game titles.
This is from the Octopath Traveler team.
Yeah.
So it has similar visuals. I love the name they have for that franchise of games. It's called the HD 2D series.
Oh, you're right.
High definition, two-dimensional games.
Yeah, it's because they're all diorama storybook lookers.
Yeah, so that's the connective tissue between those games. They have different gameplay, they have different characters, but they have same visuals.
You've never played Octopath. You returned my copy of Octopath Traveler.
I did.
But you're excited for Project Triangle?
I think the gameplay would appeal to me more, yeah. Because it's a tactical strategy game instead of a turn-based JRPG. I can't see what you're doing, by the way.
Okay, I just wanted to pull up a tier list that describes Nintendo fandoms.
Okay.
And I thought it was pretty funny. I'm stealing this directly from Castle Super Beast, who stole it from somebody on Twitter.
I'm loving these descriptions of each tier.
Right, so this is describing the fandoms themselves, not the games.
Oh, okay, the fandoms.
So generally pleasant, we have Kirby, Splatoon, and the new Super Mario Bros. Stuff.
Okay.
Bitter but righteous, Golden Sun, Mario and Luigi, and Wario Land. Consumed by spite, Fire Emblem and Zelda. More beasts than men, F-Zero, Mother, and Paper Mario. And then the highlight of this whole tier list. Gluttons who would not be satisfied with all the riches of heaven, Animal Crossing, Smash, and Pokemon.
And that's a good segue into the Pokemon news.
Oh, sure. Yeah, we can do Pokemon.
Then you hit me with this Pokemon news, because I'm a little out of the loop.
Oh, Pokemon is whipping out their Gen 4 remake. It's called Shining Diamond and Glimmering Pearl or something like that.
Okay.
Which is kind of whack because, as you know, Pokemon games come out with like a red and a blue, a gold and a silver, and then they also have the combiner game.
The yellow,
the crystal, the emerald, the platinum.
Mm-hmm.
Why they decided to remake Diamond and Pearl and not Platinum is stupid. Because as you may recall, this game, more than many of the other ones, suffers from pace. So Pokemon games have never been... I mean, granted, there are Pokemon speedruns are some of the most popular types of speedruns. Mm-hmm. But as you can see from this clip, you could really spend a lot of time...
Why is the health bar going down so slowly?
Because he attacked a Blissey, and Blissey has the most HP of any Pokemon.
Uh-huh.
So there's a lot of HP to get rid of. But clearly, this is a design foible that can give you an indication of the sort of problems with...
I would say that's borderline unplayable.
Yeah, that was pretty damning. This is from Yizoru.
And this is a unique quirk only present in the 4th gen Pokemon games.
The early Pokemon games were quick-witted. I mean, well, tough to say. I only played Gen 3 for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
That Mystery Dungeon game I opened the episode with, that was technically Gen 3.
Okay.
And then I also played Fire Red and Leaf Green. And even my XD Gale of Darkness and Pokemon Coliseum nonsense were Gen 3. I'm a very specific... type of gamer. And then the other Pokemon game that they announced, Legends Arceus, which you heard about as being the Breath of the Wild clone.
Mm-hmm.
That's also like a Gen 4, but they're kind of mixing it up. Here's where they went wrong with that Legends Arceus thing. If I had to armchair CEO the Pokemon franchise...
Yeah, please do.
They need to make it more dynamic. The animations, which were an issue of Sun and Moon, Legends Arceus game, the frame rate's non-existent again. And And I'm anticipating, much like many others, that this Legends Arceus game is going to be like, can you collect all 50 Pokemon? When there really ought to be on the magnitude of hundreds that you can get in this game. And like different environments. You know who should have been Arceus is like the god Pokemon. This video game is basically called Legends Christ in terms of the Pokemon universe.
Okay.
But it really should have been called just like Cast Form. Or Cast Form should have been the guy on the box. Do you know who Cast Form is?
No clue.
All right, Cast Form's a little sperm gray blob of a Pokemon that his gimmick is he changes with the weather.
Okay. He's like a mood ring.
Sure. Yeah. So they should have done it where there's like a marauding Cast Form. That's whatever. He's cursed or whatever. And he keeps changing the weather of the environment. And that would have been a cool way to sort of reduce the map size so that they can bump up the frame rate. Make it a smaller map, because it's an open world Pokemon game with like stealth and like you can hide in the tall grass and you're just throwing balls at guys. They should have had a Cast Form that would go around the map changing the weather to sandstorm, to hail, to rain, to sunny day. Mm-hmm. And then they could have saved resources by making the map smaller, still maintaining the variability of the Pokemon. And that would have afforded them the chance to make the animations more lifelike, the frame rate more consistent. That's what I think. This is not the kind of Pokemon that you're likely going to see on a box art. You're likely going to see the big legendary Godzilla or the cute Pikachu. Mm-hmm. But that's what my CEO nerve is telling me.
Okay.
But Pokemon doesn't have to listen to me because they're the wealthiest franchise ever.
Right, they are.
So that's all I had to say about the Pokemons.
It's worth noting this newer open world one.
It's not coming out until 2022.
Yeah, it's a little ways off. It's also not being developed by Game Freak, I believe.
Which is a good thing.
Yeah, kind of a rarity.
Game Freak have made the same game for at least 10 years.
So this could be a chance where we get a different game, which is what fans want.
We were hoping Genius Sonority was going to do that, but then they made Pokemon Cafe, which is just a Tsum baby game.
Got it.
So that's Pokemon.
All right, that's Pokemon.
Next up, let's do quite the non sequitur. Over to Fortnite.
All right, I haven't checked in on Fortnite in a while. What's this? Heath is reaching below the table, reaching for his laptop.
Okay, so Fortnite has been adding no small amount of intellectual property and crossover media.
Right.
So it's time to test Chris's knowledge. Fortnite franchises. I'm going to have at least 2, sometimes 3, different franchises. And Chris will have to guess which brand is not in Fortnite.
Okay.
That's how we do it.
That's a very exclusive group, the brands that aren't in Fortnite.
That's the point. So let's start off with an easy one. John Wick or Jack Reacher?
Which one is not in Fortnite?
Right.
Clearly this one is Jack Reacher.
You're correct. Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat.
Okay. I'm not 100% sure about this one, but
very similar.
They're both 1v1 fighting games. I feel like the family...
Which are you more likely to hear in Fortnite? Hadouken or Get Over Here?
I think it's Mortal Kombat that's not in Fortnite.
And you are correct. Street Fighter at the time I made this... Oh, geez. Sorry, that was me bumping the cord. Street Fighter... At the time I made this was like just added.
Okay.
So that was the impetus, really. There's 2 input tie. Spider-Man, Batman, or Aquaman, which is not in Fortnite.
Ooh, I know for a fact Batman was in Fortnite. Spider-Man, you'd kind of think he's in there, but I somewhat remember Aquaman being there. Would that mean it's Spider-Man? I'm going to say it's Spider-Man who has not been in Fortnite.
And you'd be correct.
Wow. Aquaman made it in first. That's wild.
Yeah. Star Wars, Avengers, or Harry Potter, which is not in Fortnite.
Avengers obviously was. I'm going to say it's Harry Potter that's not been in Fortnite.
It's correct. You are cleaning this up. Alien, Predator, or Godzilla, which is not in Fortnite.
Oh,
You're less familiar with these 70s, 80s franchises.
Yeah. Let's try Godzilla.
And you'd be correct.
Wow.
Alien was very recently added to Fortnite.
Okay.
Who's that character?
The alien's food.
Not quite.
Oh.
You're referring to Ripley, who is the heroine played by Sigourney Weaver.
Okay.
Next to the Xenomorph. Transformers, Ghostbusters, or G.I. Joe. Once again, the 80s franchises that they seem to gravitate toward.
Yeah, which are far older than Fortnite's player base. Yeah, this one's a toughie. I actually think G.I. Joe is in there. Let's say Ghostbusters does not appear.
Oh, but it does, though.
Oh.
Yeah.
It was Transformers that wasn't in.
Da-da-da-da-da. TV shows now, The Walking Dead, Stranger Things, or American Horror Story.
It's just by prevalence alone, it's got to be American Horror Story that did not make it in, right?
Yeah, you're right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very simply put. RoboCop or Terminator?
Terminator's bigger, so RoboCop didn't make it in.
And you're correct. Who's that?
The Terminator.
Who next to him?
I don't know.
Sarah Connor.
Okay.
The NFL or the WWE?
Ooh. If you had asked me beforehand, I would have been certain both of them made it in. Let's say it's the NFL that did not.
Oh, you're wrong.
Oh, the WWE did not make it in.
They did put the NFL in there,
Okay.
which is kind of weird. You know?
What's weird about it?
Just like if you're playing as Michael Vick and like you shoot a dog. Halo, Final Fantasy, or God of War?
Okay, I know this one. It's Final Fantasy that did not make it in.
Right, but technically, Final Fantasy, and this is like the other impetus for starting the slideshow. You did very well. You only got like one wrong. Final Fantasy now has a battle royale.
Oh, that's right. It does.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh boy, that was probably an unnecessary move to make. Because if you're a Final Fantasy fan, I don't think any part of a battle royale necessarily scratches the same itch for you as like a Final Fantasy game would normally give you. It seems like a very big departure for that franchise.
What's the canonical explanation for this? You're competing to be like the best soldier for the villain character, and that's gonna be the one that like ties into the main Final Fantasy games.
Oh, okay, that could be.
I think.
It sounds like you know more than I do.
Name a location in Final Fantasy.
Midgar.
That's all we got.
That's all we got.
So I don't know about this final. It's mobile only.
Right.
And it's just we've kind of
Square Enix, what are you doing?
Yeah, so that's that Fortnite news and that Final Fantasy news. Who else is coming to Fortnite?
Make a wild prediction, Heath. I think
I it was fair to say more Disney stuff at some point.
we'll get Spider-Man eventually.
Like Wreck-It Ralph was also included, but I didn't care to put him in the slideshow.
Okay. What's this, Heath? I have a reciprocal game for you.
Okay, do it. Yeah, do it.
2 games in 1 episode. We're just spoiling our listeners. So there was also 2 impetuses that sparked this game that I have created for you, Heath. The first of which was Sony announced one of their first-party exclusive zombie games, not The Last of Us, the other one, Days Gone.
Oh, yeah.
Is coming over to the PC in Q2 of this year. Mm-hmm. This is following suit from Horizon Zero Dawn, arriving on the PC last year. And they said we will be bringing more of our first-party titles to the PC in the future. So that was one thing. Also, kind of out of the blue, the entirety of the Kingdom Hearts franchise is arriving on PC at the end of March of this month. And prior to that, not a single Kingdom Hearts game had been on PC. That's the way we like it. But unfortunately, they're coming over.
They had only been on Sony and Nintendo.
Yeah. And I think the latest one was on Xbox.
Yes.
So,
that was made... There's a funny video that's like... You ever watch Mighty Keith?
I have not.
He's a YouTube reaction type who does these skits of the fighting game community.
Okay.
He once did a skit based around PlayStation fans versus Xbox fans. This was around the time that Spider-Man came out, right?
Okay.
So the PlayStation fans playing, and it's like, oh man, you enjoying that Spider-Man game? And it's like, yeah, I'm having lots of fun on my Xbox. And then like gunshot sound effect. Spider-Man isn't on Xbox. Y'all got an Xbox? Why? It's got no games. And he's like, oh, but we have Kingdom Hearts. It's like only the newest one. You can play that without knowing the story? Yeah. So now it's coming to PC.
Right.
That'll change things for someone.
Yeah, it's funny to imagine, because the first Kingdom Hearts game came out in 2002. It's funny to imagine this hypothetical person who only has a PC and longs for a PlayStation and has been waiting more than 18 years to finally get a chance to play that fresh new title, Kingdom Hearts. And their day has finally come. So, with these announcements, I've been thinking to myself, oftentimes I've been proven over and over again, if you're just willing to wait long enough, eventually you get a PC port for a game. And so...
Oh, do I have to guess years?
I've come up with 8 matchups here where I pair 2 games against each other. Heath, you will be guessing which game had the longer wait to arrive on the PC.
Oh.
So not necessarily which one came first, but which had the longer gap between initial release and PC port. And for bonus points, you can try to guess how long that might have been.
This game is called Patience is a Virtue.
Yeah. So to start off, we'll start with those 2 games we just mentioned. Which one had a longer wait?
Oh.
Horizon Zero Dawn or Days Gone?
Horizon Zero Dawn.
Care to guess how long you might have had to wait for that?
Only 3 years.
Yeah, you're spot on. It was Horizon Zero Dawn, which came out
3 years and 2 months.
3 years, 5 months later.
And 100 days.
And Days Gone, the wait is only going to be about 2 years. We don't have an exact PC release date yet. But that was that.
But it could.
All right, here's a funner. This one's more interesting, perhaps. Which one had a longer wait? Grand Theft Auto 5 or Death Stranding?
These are very close, I feel.
They are closer than the last one. That's right.
Grand Theft Auto 5.
You're right. How long do you think it was?
It was like 2.5 years, and Death Stranding was only like little over a year.
Death Stranding was a little under a year.
Yeah.
There was only like an 8-month wait. And then Grand Theft Auto 5 was 1 year, 7 months.
Okay.
Very good. All right, we're getting into some longer waits here. Heavy Rain versus Flower.
What's Flower?
It's by the people who made Journey, the game right before Journey.
Oh.
You're guiding pedals with gusts of wind.
Heavy Rain was 10 years on the dot.
Okay.
Flower, we're just going to say Heavy Rain because we know it's 10 years.
It's funny you said 10 years on the dot because that's the amount of time it took Flower to come to the PC. And Heavy Rain was 9 years.
Oh, okay.
So it goes to Flower on that one. All right. We talked enough about Sony stuff. How about some Microsoft? We're pitting Halo. Reach against Halo Wars, the RTS one.
What?
And Halo Reach was the last one Bungie made.
Uh-huh.
Before it changed hands to 343.
You told me that Halo games on PC, with the exception of like 1 and 2, they didn't come back to the PC until the anniversary collection.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that Halo Wars waited longer. Or no, it's a strategy game, so it's more deserving of ending up on the PC. So maybe they cranked that out quicker. This is so tough. Maybe Halo Wars because it was less of a priority. Halo Wars waited longer.
All right. Halo Wars had a lengthy 7-year, 9-month wait.
Okay.
Halo Reach, those people were waiting for over 9 years.
Wow.
So that Halo Reach was the longer wait time.
Who'd have thought?
I know, right?
Halo Reach was good.
It was one of the pinnacles, yeah. It's crazy how long some of these waits are. We're getting to the abysmal ones pretty soon. All right, time for some Persona stuff.
When is it not time for Persona stuff?
On this show, very often it's time for Persona.
Look at the clock.
So, the game Persona
You're
Studio...
You're going to say Persona 4 Golden.
All right, yeah, we're pitting Persona 4 Golden against Catherine, the game Persona Studio made right before Persona 5.
Catherine ended up on Steam in 2015. Persona 4 Golden had to wait longer. They had to wait like 8 years. Yeah, Persona 4 Golden.
You're correct. This one was actually ridiculously close.
Oh.
Catherine was 7 years, 5 months. Persona 4 Golden was 7 years, 6 months.
Yeah.
So you're right. All right, this is a fun one. Going back to some games from the 90s, we have the original Final Fantasy VII pitted against another contemporary of its time, Chrono Trigger. Which one had the longer wait to get a PC release?
Did a PC release? Well, shoot. I'm going to say Chrono Trigger had to wait longer.
You're right. Those Chrono Trigger fans were waiting more than 22 years to get a PC release. This one blew my mind, though. Final Fantasy VII, that wait time was 9 months. There is a 90s version PC game of Final Fantasy VII.
CD-ROM, yeah.
Yeah. I had no idea.
Good for them, yeah.
I
lucked out.
Blew my mind. 2 more here to go. All right, Kingdom Hearts, we alluded to that one, versus DuckTales.
We'll say that Kingdom Hearts had to wait longer than DuckTales.
Kingdom Hearts, those people were waiting 18 years and 6 months. But those DuckTale fans had it worse. They were waiting 23 years, 11 months.
Wow.
Those DuckTales fans went through puberty, got their first job, got married, had kids. Finally, they could play their favorite game on the PC. All right, final round. Bloodborne or Red Dead Redemption?
Oh, Red Dead Redemption took forever. Wait. Is Red Dead Redemption available on PC?
Neither of these games have come to PC.
Yeah, you got me.
People are screaming for Bloodborne PC. And yeah, Red Dead Redemption, the first one infamously never got ported. I've heard that the code running that game has been
slapped together.
Maintained very poorly. So it would be a gargantuan effort to port it over.
But that multiplayer, though, would thrive.
Could be, yeah. So yeah, those are 2 of the, what should we call them? The ones that slipped through the cracks. Those games have not yet had a PC port. But when we return to this game a year from now, who knows? Maybe Bloodborne will be running at 60 frames per second.
Maybe. I can't think of games that I want that haven't come to the PC.
I know. So many have come over. Except Nintendo games. Those Those never get ported.
Never, ever.
Unless you're using an emulator.
Which I have. FBI, open up. All right.
But
fun game.
You were just emulating ROMs that you purchased legitimately.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Very good.
Thank you.
Is that it for the news, Heath?
Yeah. Yeah, that can be it for the news.
Cool. Is that it for this podcast? Or do you want to do other stuff?
Yeah, that's it for this. Yeah.
Okay. How should we end this? Just say thanks to our listeners. You've been a treat.
We should end it with a limerick.
Okay.
I'll go first.
Sure.
We hope you've enjoyed this episode. The games we talked about made me want to explode. There was Florence and Dice, and Hitman's not nice, but Red Dead Redemption has terrible code. Yeah, that was not bad.
That was.
I saved it.
You saved it. I'm far too intimidated to try to come up with one myself.
Limericks are some of the oldest rhetoric, lyrical art forms ever. Mm-hmm. And they were hardly written down. You would just have to like hear somebody else say it and then repeat it, and that's how they survived. You can never go wrong with a good limerick.
How about that's the takeaway for this episode?
I think the takeaway for this episode was either going to be Paris, Italy, or Corridor.
What fun times we had.
Chris, I'm so eager to play games.
Uh-huh.
But I just haven't done so.
Yeah, I've noticed.
But don't worry. This month is Disco Elysium, and Seth came home from camp and was like, "Can I borrow your Switch? I want to play Rocket League." And I'm like, "Okay, there's Rocket League on my PC already, but go for it." And he's like, "Can I play Animal Crossing?" And I'm like, "Oh, sure, go." And he's like, "Is there a way to make one more island in Animal Crossing?" And in New Horizons, there's not. You can't have multiple save files of different islands.
Oh.
So I told him he had my permission to wipe my save.
Oh my gosh.
Which I've put almost 100 hours into.
Yeah.
But I wasn't super attached to it.
Interesting.
I was actually equally interested in the possibility of starting fresh, knowing what I know now.
Oh, okay.
So I let him go through with it. So moment of silence for anyone listening. R.I.P. Stromboli. That island is no more. But who knows what will succeed it. I have yet to touch my Switch since he had his way with it.
Yeah.
So we will investigate that. And we gotta get through Disco Elysium Final Cut before Mass Effect. Those are my priorities.
Very good. So hopefully we'll have a lot to talk about next episode.
And we could have a lot more to talk about if people wrote in. Feel free to tell Chris again what color Celebi is at MobiusTubesPodcast@gmail.com.
Yes, please do. I'm just dying to know, but not enough that I would Google the answer. I threaded that line very finely.
You did. Also let us know what games girls have recommended.
Yeah, because Dicey Dungeons is not on that list.
No, but Moonlighter is.
I guess so, yeah.
And so is Just Dance ABBA.
Yep. That one is heartily recommended.
All right, that's all I got.
And that's all I've got. And that's Mobius Tubes.
See ya, Chris.
Bye.